The arena of proving stood silent as Kalen watched the scoreboard flicker to life. 99th place. Out of 100 contestants. She had expected this. Among the galaxy's finest warriors, a human with no natural armor, no enhanced strength, and no predatory instincts had little chance. The Vrexian announcer's voice boomed across the stadium. The trials are complete. The top 10 will proceed to the Apex Challenge. The rest are dismissed. Kalen gathered her belongings, ready to leave. She had tried. That was enough. Wait. The voice came from the High Arbiter, a towering Keltharian whose scales shimmered like liquid metal. There is one final test. A tradition. The Apex herself will choose. The crowd fell silent. Even the victorious warriors tensed. The gates at the far end of the arena began to rise. What emerged made Kalen's breath catch. The Apex was massive, easily 15 feet tall, with fur that shifted between shadow and starlight. Her eyes glowed amber, ancient and intelligent. She was the arena's guardian, a creature so deadly that even touching her meant instant death for most species. The Apex prowled forward, ignoring the champions who stood rigid with fear. She passed the Crothian general who had placed first. She walked by the Xylar battle master who had shattered every combat record. She stopped in front of Kalen. The human stood frozen as the Apex lowered her enormous head, sniffing. Up close, Kalen could see scars beneath the fur, old wounds from countless battles. But there was something else in those amber eyes. Something tired. Something lonely. She seeks a guardian, the High Arbiter whispered, shocked. For her cubs. Before anyone could react, the Apex turned and walked back toward the gates. She paused, looking back at Kalen. The message was clear. Kalen followed. Behind the gates lay a world no arena spectator had ever seen. A vast cavern, lit by bioluminescent crystals, stretched into darkness. The Apex led Kalen deeper, past ancient bones and forgotten weapons, until they reached a hollow carved into the stone point. 3 cubs huddled together. They were small, barely the size of large dogs, but their eyes held the same amber glow as their mother. The largest one, with a distinctive white mark on his chest, watched Kalen with careful intelligence. The Apex mother made a low rumbling sound. The cubs stirred but did not approach. Your name? Kalen asked softly. Kneeling, the white-marked cub tilted his head. When he spoke, his voice was young but clear, a telepathic whisper in her mind. I am Vash. My sisters are Kira and Nyx. Kalen sat cross-legged on the stone floor. I'm Kalen. Your mother brought me here. We know. Vash patted closer, cautious. She has been sick. The poison from the last trial combat. It spreads. The pieces fell into place. The Apex had been wounded, probably during a demonstration fight. The arena masters would have tried to heal her, but some toxins could not be cured, only endured. She wants me to protect you, Kalen said. The others would kill us, Vash replied simply. To prove their strength. To take trophies. She has kept us hidden, but she grows weaker. Kalen looked at the Apex mother, who lay nearby, her breathing labored. The mighty creature had chosen the weakest warrior in the trials. Not for strength. For something else. Why me? Kalen asked. Vash stepped closer, his small nose touching her hand. You smell different. Not like hunters. Like protectors. Like pack. Humans had evolved as social creatures. They cared for their young longer than most species. They formed bonds across bloodlines, across species. They could love things that were not their own. I will protect you, Kalen promised. The days that followed were unlike anything Kalen had imagined. The Apex mother taught her the secrets of the arena, the hidden passages, the ancient rules that even the High Arbiter had forgotten. She showed Kalen where to find food, water, and safety. But mostly, she taught Kalen about her cubs. Vash was brave and clever, natural leader despite his youth. Kira was quick and playful, her laughter like crystal chimes in the cavern. Nyx was quiet but observant, seeing patterns that others missed. The Apex mother also taught them about Kalen. She showed the cubs how humans were different, how they could not see in the dark like predators, but carried light, how they were not strong, but used tools, how they were not fast, but persistent. She says humans never stop, Vash translated one evening. Other predators hunt until tired. Humans hunt until the prey falls. Persistence hunting, Kalen explained. My ancestors ran animals to exhaustion. We may not be the fastest, but we do not quit. The apex mother rumbled her approval. 3 weeks later, she died. Kaylin held vigil as the great creature took her last breath, her massive head resting on Kaylin's lap. The cubs gathered close, their telepathic grief a wave of sorrow that filled the cavern. What happens now? Kira whispered. Now we survive, Kaylin said firmly. Together, the arena masters discovered them a day later. The High Arbiter entered the cavern with armed guards, expecting to find cubs alone and vulnerable. Instead, they found Kaylin standing before the cubs, a plasma lance in her hands, her stance unwavering. The apex chose me, Kaylin said quietly. I will honor that choice. The High Arbiter studied her for a long moment. You ranked 99th. You have no claim to. The apex gave me a claim, Kaylin interrupted. By your own traditions, her choice supersedes the trials. Or have your laws changed? Silence filled the cavern. Ancient rules were sacred in the arena. The apex's choice had never been challenged because it had never been needed. You cannot protect them alone, the High Arbiter finally said. I am not alone. Kaylin glanced back at Vash, Kira, and Nyx. We are pack. The High Arbiter's scales rippled with what might have been respect. Then you will need a ship, and supplies, and a place far from those who would hunt such rare creatures. Are you helping us? Kaylin asked, surprised. The apex served this arena for 50 years. She earned her choice. The High Arbiter turned to leave, then paused. The galaxy is large. Find a quiet corner. Raise them well. 6 months later, on a peaceful world at the edge of known space, Kaylin built a home. The cubs grew larger each day, learning to hunt, to play, to trust. Vash became her constant shadow. Kira brought her gifts of strange flowers, and Nyx kept watch through the nights. Sometimes, visitors came seeking the famous apex cubs. They found instead a human woman and 3 young predators who greeted strangers with caution but not hostility. You ranked last in the trials, one visitor remarked. Yet you achieved what the greatest warriors could not. Kaylin smiled, watching Vash teach his sisters a hunting technique. I did not win through strength. I won through something stronger. What is that? The ability to love what is different from myself. The willingness to protect those who cannot protect themselves. The patience to nurture rather than conquer. She paused, then added, very human things. The visitor left thoughtful. Behind him, in a home built by the weakest warrior, 3 cubs played under the watchful eye of the one the apex had chosen. Not the strongest, not the fastest, but the one who would never abandon her pack.